This is about, as of today, which is the 12th of November, right through 2025. So what I see we did have, obviously, in November, which I'm not too sure, I haven't checked facts, I'm not a climatologist, I'm not certainly a geologist or any of those, or a weather person, but I do see that it is going to be an all-year event, tornadoes, okay? So with that said, I would like to address the rest of November. November 28th, I do see a small section where it lays down about 5 to 8, round about here, into Iowa. It could touch Nebraska. It's a storm system, and a cluster of, it looks like 12, but really the impactful ones are about 5. Maybe an EF, anything from EF0 to EF maybe 3, but it's really EF2s or EF1s, a majority EF0s, okay? December 12th, you will see one that's coming in here, and I think it's, what I'm seeing is really a storm system, a hurricane that's coming in, or a tropical storm that's coming in here and counter creates other weather systems, which I'm seeing here, about a cluster of about, I know it sounds a lot, 17, but it's really about 2 or 3 that are really devastating, and that's an EF2 to an EF3. It counteracts and comes in there to Georgia, but it's this whole system, the eye, I wouldn't say it's an eye, but the system actually covers that one, okay? We're going to do 2025 now. 2025, and I think I mentioned this before, that it is an all-year event, that we are looking at tornadoes hitting every month nearly, even though it didn't hit, I don't believe, in February, but we are going to see 2. Let's start at the beginning in January, and right about January 15th, I'm seeing a good portion, really about 2 to 3 possibilities, 3, from here, Denver, Colorado, in there. I know Colorado usually wouldn't get one, but I'm seeing about a small cell about 3. So when I hesitate, I'm sorry, I'm downloading 3. And they're just minor ones, but they're enough. Then I'm seeing round about January 8th to the 12th probably, because it's a big system. It travels down and collects. Even though there's possibility of snow, but for some reason it's very damp there. So it's coming down here into Nebraska and Kansas and traveling through this. This is a storm system, but the damage that it takes is really about 17 tornadoes and about a possibility of EF2 to 3, and the rest are EF0s to EFUs, so that's about that one, okay? January 23rd, there's a small cell, but it's really a to-do here, okay? January 23rd, and it's really, I'm sorry, I'm going on ahead here. It's more here, into this area here, and it's again a tropical system or something going on there, and you might see, for some weird reason, some activity here with about 3 tornadoes in there as well, okay? I'm only going to try and cover the really devastating ones, okay? March. Actually, February, there are a few. Okay, March 23rd, you'll see it round about here, and it actually is a rain system that's coming down to Dallas and here, and it's spurring about 12 tornadoes, and it does more damage really in outside Dallas over here, and it spurs about an F2, and the rest are really about 3 F1s, but EF1s, and the rest are zeros. April last year was a devastation. There were so many, sorry, not April, May was, but April this year is going to have a longer period, I'm afraid, where it's going to be far more intense in this area here. And again, it's kind of Nebraska, but it's really, and this is traditionally the Tornado Alley, but they're going to have about 5 events, 5 different days in there, and these would be April 3rd through the 5th, 8th through the 12th, and that's about here, Arkansas. That carries an EF2 to 3s, and the rest are zeros and 1s. Here, April 27th is the one that's really quite aggressive, and it just continues coming down with lots of rain, huge tropical. It looks like a tropical storm. So the downpour is quite bad, and that's in at the end of April, and that carries about possibilities of EF1s to 2s and maybe a 3, but it's round about here. May, again, intensification of weather systems. We're seeing, other than the rain, which I did cover flooding, but not in the way of normal rain. This is flooding from other factors, but we're staying with tornadoes here. So in May, there is again this corridor, but now I'm seeing it more in Memphis. Even there's about 1 or 2 outside Memphis, central Arkansas and Oklahoma and Texas. There's about 2 to 3 storms just in that isolated area, and it seems to be moving down the system, not staying up here, but it's really this area here that the concentration is going to be. And I'm seeing about as many as possibly, and it sounds horrible, 12 in May. 12 different systems coming in, overlapping sometimes, or following. One would think it's the same one, just geared up, but you're going to see all kinds of, how can I say this, fatalities, and I'm sorry about that, because they're hitting, which is the worst. It's indiscriminate. It hits the poorer areas and the areas that don't really have that protection. But I'm seeing a possibility of in that whole cluster, an EF4 possibility there. And that is round about here, and that's associated with a storm that's coming in round about the 27th of April. May, what am I saying? May. So all of that is May, okay? There is one more in May, but this is again towards a system that's coming in and crossing, Florida, well, the Bahamas, not Cuba so much, but Bahamas, Miami, and we're hitting Florida around about here. I'm seeing a few, about 2 or 3 low-level tornadoes, and that's towards about the 15th and 16th of May. In June, there are going to be far more hurricanes, but this is a concentration where it's going to be every time there's a hurricane that hits, it's going to hit with an EF1 to an EF3 upwards, okay? So only because it's reactionary to July, I'm seeing far more up here, and there is a system that's coming in July 14th, coming into Charlotte. It's kind of a tropical storm because it's a quite wide berth, and it comes into Atlanta, Georgia too, and it hits here. I'm seeing as many as 17 to maybe 35 tornadoes here, but they're in very low level, but even then any tornado is dangerous. Possibilities of EF2s and 3s there. Then there is August. I'm seeing about actually a higher concentration, and I think it's really counter, or shall we say inclusive, because of the hurricanes that are coming in August. So if you look at the hurricane whatever, I'm going back to my English here, no, I've changed it, but anyway, the hurricane that came in, but basically it's going to be effective more. The areas affected are going to be New Orleans, this whole area here, and as much as Houston. Houston's going to be hit with about 4 or 5 at the end of August, but there may be a EF1 that touches the ground, and even San Antonio, but outside you'll see an EF3. Then we're going to September, and that is to do with a system coming up here, and it's really, I see it's really a tropical system. There's showing a possibility from a tropical storm to a hurricane, but it's not. It goes and meanders. It kind of gears up to an H1, but it isn't. It goes and falls back into tropical. Storm may hit the coast at an an H1, but it's really a tropical storm that comes in and hits all the way through Virginia, Washington, and that. And there are, throughout that system, you'll see about 17 tornadoes. And hope to God I'm wrong with everything I say, which I'm fine with. Okay? And that was September. I'm going to, before we go into October and November, and December, of course, next year, I'm going to go here, and a lot of people keep on talking to me about, hey, you're crazy. There are no hurricanes off the West Coast, but I was right. In the last few years, they are getting more prevalent, and it is coming up from here, counter-creating here, and I do see about 5 in California, and it's mostly on the tip of Orange County to like Long Beach, Los Angeles, and it'll be in the July, August, late August in here. And there's a system of about possibly 5, but it's only one that could be an EF1 and tears up. But independent of that, that is, remembered, it's supported by the hurricane, and so it's in there. But even then, independent of that, there's also Las Vegas is going to experience about 3 tornadoes within the Vegas vicinity, but not downtown. But there could be a one that's kind of we do get whirlwinds around here, but the thing is, they're not as intense as an EF1. Outside Las Vegas, there are other cities, townships, which will experience about 2 EF0s and a possibility of an EF1. Okay? And just going down here quickly, expect even Oregon to see some tornadoes. Denver, outside, up in the hills, in about late July, August, you'll see about 3. Oregon, you'll see on the coast more. Okay, tornadoes, maybe a possibility of about 3 there. What I'm talking about now, because of these storms here, there are also other weather systems here, and I'm seeing Honolulu, but it's Lahaina that gets hit with a little EF1, could be a 2, but there are little tornadoes. There's about a total of 5 next year for Hawaii, I'm afraid. And it's such a beautiful, they're really good people there in Hawaii. So that is tornadoes here for the time being. But again, as I said, you're going to get in New York, independent, when there's a tropical storm that's hitting or a hurricane, you will get that. So it's more really pushing down this area here than it was up here next year. I'll cover heat, which I don't know why I bothered to do that, because it's going to get worse anyway. Oh, and I'm sorry, I apologize. I still haven't done October and November and December. October, I see only one, and that is really to do with a system here, with a hurricane system. You can watch the hurricane video. November, I'm seeing about 4 or 5, and it's really round about this area here. And it's not got quite cold, and it's again to do with some kind of storm system. December, I'm seeing 4 or 5, but they're all low level. And that's it really for tornadoes for 2025, but let's touch on 2024. Thanks for joining me. And remember, there's another video following this one. Thanks. Bye. I would like to add on a separate note before going on here that I know I've put out some ridiculous to some people that I'm seeing hurricanes as early as January, right through to May, June is when the so-called time period for seeing hurricanes. But you have to know that, as I'd said in the tornadoes, and even though it's not this segment, but I have to tell you, this was called Tornado Alley. And from years ago, 15, 20 years ago, I've been saying that the tornadoes, the Tornado Valley, has actually been expanding, but going and moving, expanding right, which has actually come true. And because of the hurricanes, I know there were far more tornadoes in Florida, but I had also seen tornadoes there anyway, and said that there are tornadoes in New York too, and that it's expanding more aggressively towards the right than the left. But even there are tornadoes in California as well, and the West Coast. So, and towards this area, Nevada, Texas. So it is expanding, but really more aggressively to the right. And I'll put this same segment into the tornado video. But hopefully that would help you understand that its energy is everything, and it's changing. We due to certain earthquakes, which I'll be doing another segment on that one, any heavier, really catastrophic earthquake, especially in the 7s or in the 9s, that more so, does and has tilted the Earth's axis. So of course we're going to get repercussions from that. We're going to get repercussions from global warming, whether you like it or not. That is affecting why the rains, which is another segment I'll be doing. But basically all of that goes into the equation why we're actually seeing a different, I wouldn't say category, but really a different style and a projection of where these are all coming in. So basically that hopefully will clarify a bit, and I'll put that in a separate segment. Okay. If you don't agree, again, follow your own instincts. I'm not a climatologist. I'm just trying to, or a meteorologist. I'm just trying to share how I receive what I see in my vision.